There has to be the realization that all institutions, whether school, medical, carceral, etc., that they all have been active participants in systemic oppression and the dehumanization of people. So you need to realize that. You can't just sit there and say, well, I'm different. Times are different. So therefore, culture of this institution um, is different. You're being very naive. I was very naive. And so you have to realize that when you are participating there, if it's economically, financially, for whatever reason, not only where you stand within that system, but also you need to understand how that system affects and impacts the masses. You got to be real with yourself on that. And then I would also say, in the words of Ptahhotep, is follow your heart at all times, because the seat of intelligence and that quiet voice of morality and ethics is the heart. And so if you are getting what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, where what you're doing is not aligning with your self-perception and your ideological framework, then that means that that's something that should not be compartmentalized or suppressed. That discomfort and that disconnect is telling you something about how you and injustice are in complete opposition with one another. Realize that oppression is not abstract. It's not. It has faces to it. um, and that systems of oppressions have multiple faces to it. And we must understand that regardless of what we do, is that we all are affected by it, either directly or indirectly. And that the way through is to examine, to explore, and to interrogate that dissonance, to use the heart as the seat of intelligence and the seat of judgment and discernment, and then find the best way to redefine reality in your own terms. If that means that I'm still going to be a part of the system, yet I am going to be more open and communicative about my value system, then let that be what it is. If it's, I need to walk away like I did, because I can't rationalize being in this power structure of destruction, of death, and dehumanization, then do that with faith and courage.
And I think it's important to really highlight this wasn't just a one-day decision and then you have to act. This was over years and years where you were able to have that kind of revelation, but then work on your own knowledge and self-actualization and worldview, and then take a step. So people don't have to think today, okay, I got to get out of this job. You can start having that process, but then start working on yourself so you know what path you want to take. Because I think that
Agreed.
sometimes we don't know what path.
I have learned through spiritual guides. I have learned through so many people, my band of Black women that teach me and mentor me all the time. My wife, my sister in spirit, my mother in spirit, and even just through just stillness and quiet, is that I realize is that not everything requires a immediate resolve. And so what you're saying is very, very powerful. And I know that that can be quite concerning, especially when there's psychological, emotional, spiritual distress. And is that like, I need to have a solution. I need to know what to do. I need to know how to maneuver. And sometimes the best way to do things is not to react in fear and anxiety. And the best way is to, like what you teach, how to somatically regulate yourself. Somatically regulate yourself and calm your nervous system so you're not making irrational or haste decisions. And again, it's also the process of unlearning and relearning and learning. And so therefore, no, it's not going to be a day, a week, a month. It may take like me, 8 years. It may take more than that. I've met social workers who've been in the carceral system for 10 plus years and walk out of it with moral injury, and they find themselves just completely disgruntled and distressed from their participation within the carceral state. And so be patient with yourself. That's what the revolution is permanent. It's not going nowhere. And it's not just one person, it is a collective. And we need people who are in their best health, holistic health, in order to contribute positively, productively, and with intention.